Well, good morning. No, not yet. One, two, three. No. It's on now. Beginner. Well, thanks everybody and welcome. But firstly, I'd ask if anybody could make sure that they have their phones on silent or off. Thank you. And the first thing we're going to do today, it's my privilege to ask Commissioner Todd Andrews to bring forward and place the Marine Rescue flag. Thanks, Commissioner. Well, good morning, everyone. Now, my name is Phil Chapman, and it's my sad duty to welcome you to this funeral service for William Brown Ewen, but better known to most everybody here simply as Bill, and to his family, Grandar. I've also heard he had a few other names that we can't mention here today, which have been told to me from the Marine Rescue Tower, so I'm not sure how. We might hear a few of those later on. So to everyone here I say welcome, and I also welcome those joining us via live streaming, especially Bill's extended family in Scotland. Although we are separated by time and distance, we know that you are with us in spirit and that you both mourn and celebrate with us today with all those who are assembled here. While we grieve today because we are parting with someone we have known and cared for, we are also faced with the fact that we do not mourn alone. As well as the many people in this room and the others that are watching, there are thousands of others who are mourning the loss of loved ones too. There is also many people in the Ballina community and his extended family of first responders. Bill was loved and respected by his family and the community in which he lived and the community that he served. And we acknowledge that he has paid the supreme sacrifice to keep our community safe. There is much heartache and pain in the world today, and we come to realise that we're living in a world larger than our own. And the best way to face this unavoidable fact of death and parting is to go on caring for others so that we may help remove the injustice and the preventable sorrow in our world. Now, I'm sure that's what Bill would want of us today. That is what he would expect of us today, because he's been an example to us of what giving and sharing and caring is all about. And when we hear of the other tragedies that I spoke about in other places, we seem to be able to accept what is thrown at us. But with Bill, it is different. It's different because we knew him. It's different because we cared for him. It's different because we loved him. So our hurt is different and our sense of loss more keen. Our memories are more vivid. And speaking of memories, that's what we have to hold on to. And I'm sure that there have been some many tough times, some sad times. But today let us all focus on the good times and the fun times and be grateful that Bill was part of our lives and a great example to all of us. My purpose is very simple, to lead you in a few words of comfort and commemoration. And after speaking with the family today, they decided that the following words would probably best describe what Bill would want to say to you today. It's called When Tomorrow Never Starts Without Me, and written by David Romano. You may have heard it before, but this certainly applies to Bill. So when tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes are filled with tears for me, I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you do today, while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you, and each time that you think of me, I know you miss me too. But when tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand and said my place was ready in heaven far above, and I'd have to leave behind or those I dearly love. So when tomorrow starts without me, don't think we're far apart, for every time you think of me, I'm right there in your heart. Now, in a few moments, it's going to be our privilege to hear a little bit of Bill's life story. But I know we all share our own personal grief for his passing, but that's not what he would want. He would want us to not grieve in hurt and pain, but to grieve in the joy that he shared with many of you here today. So I'm going to ask members of his family to come forward and say a few words. I'm going to start with his daughter, Angie Brown. She has a father's accent. There you go, got a smile.
There are far too many things to say about the man Dad was to ever fit into a short eulogy. But today, I will do my very best to honour his life and the extraordinary impact he had on all of us. He was, quite simply, a wonderful man who was so very deeply loved. Dad was born on the 27th of April 1948 in the northeast of Scotland, the younger brother to his sister Margaret. Dad and Auntie Meggie had a tough upbringing in many ways, and because of that, they shared an unbreakable bond that remained with them throughout their lives. Dad felt the loss of Auntie Meggie deeply when she passed away in February 2021, and he missed her enormously. School wasn't a place Dad particularly loved, nor one where he especially thrived. He often regaled us with stories of getting into mischief with his mates, giving his teachers a little cheek, and occasionally getting the cane for his efforts. He left school at around 15 and began work as a labourer at the local quarry. Dad started his working life the same way he ended it, with an unwavering work ethic and a determination to always give his very best. He soon progressed to obtaining his truck licence and worked shunting stone in the quarry. During this time, he and his good friends Nick and Ewen enjoyed holidays to the Highlands and Islands of Scotland and going out to the local dances. It was at one of these dances at Glenbucket Hall that Nick introduced Dad to my mum, Doreen, and apparently they were immediately inseparable. They married on Mum's 21st birthday, the 20th of July 1974, and spent their first 5 married years working hard, saving hard, and enjoying holidays to Mallorca, where my aunt had migrated to, often with their close friends Bill and Alice. Bill and Alice were a significant influence in Dad's life, and they treated him very much as a son. Though Bill passed away several years ago, Dad continued to speak with Alice most weeks, and we know his death will have come very hard for her. Dad went on to obtain his long-distance truck licence and delivered granite all over Scotland. And then came the next chapter of his life, becoming a father. I arrived in 1979, followed by my sister Jill in 1983. Family meant everything to Dad, and from the very beginning he worked tirelessly to provide for us and to build a life full of opportunity, stability, and love. He decided that long-distance driving wasn't compatible with family life, so he moved into more local driving work. Jill fondly remembers accompanying him on jobs, proudly carrying her pink My Little Pony lunchbox and needing a helping hand up into the cab because her legs couldn't quite manage the steps. He later took the opportunity to completely retrain as a domestic appliance engineer for Hotpoint. This was an achievement that he was immensely proud of, and he absolutely loved that job. It suited him perfectly, combining his need to always be on the go, his love of tinkering and problem solving, and his naturally social personality. And some things never changed. If Jill was off school, she'd still tag along with Dad, armed with her packed lunch and plenty of enthusiasm to help move washing machines and dishwashers. Dad always let her believe her little muscles were doing the heavy lifting. I have such wonderful memories of our childhood, growing up in the countryside in the little 2-bedroom house Mum and Dad rented before they built their own house that they named Broomley on an acre of land in the stunning Scottish countryside. Mum and Dad had many friends in the area, and there was often a party to be had. They were also close to Mum's brother Brian and his wife Kathleen. Boxing Day was always spent at their house with my cousins Gary and Judith, with a great amount of food prepared by Kathleen and very strong whiskies poured by Brian. There was always raucous laughter and a great time had by all. Sadly, we lost Brian only a couple of weeks ago. I'd like to think that he and Dad are together now, enjoying a dram or two and putting the world to rights. Our thoughts have been with Kathleen, Gary and his wife Louise, and their children Jasmine and Kyle, and with Judith during this time. It seems quite unbelievable that we are navigating these losses together on the opposite side of the world. Growing up, Dad was always fun. I vividly remember him driving me and my friends home from a day of shopping, windows down, sunroof open, music blaring, loving life. In the winter, he would attach the sled to the back of a little motorbike and pull us through the snow at top speed. We enjoyed family holidays to Majorca every second year to visit Auntie Meggie, Uncle John, and our two cousins, Juanito and Gavin. Somehow, all 8 of us would fit into their small 2-bedroom apartment in Palma, and I have no idea how, but in my uncle's tiny Fiat for trips to the beach. Those days were filled with sun, sea, sand, paella, and for the grown-ups, plenty of wine and sangria. On the alternate years, we holidayed in our caravan in beautiful Scottish seaside towns like Sandend and Carnoustie. In typical Dad fashion, he made friends in each of these towns that he would seek out for a chat when we arrived. Life took a tragic turn for our family in 2000 when Mum became unwell with a very cruel illness. No diagnosis could be found, but Dad fought relentlessly for answers and treatments that might help, all while working full-time and caring for Mum. Mum sadly passed away on the 10th of March 2005 at the very young age of 51 from what we later found out to be an extremely rare neurological condition. Dad was incredibly proud to walk me down the aisle when I married the love of my life, Grant, in September 2003. From the very beginning, he and Grant shared a genuine friendship. Dad thought the world of him, and the feeling was very much mutual. He also became close with Grant's family, his parents, Barb and Pete, his sister Adele, and her husband, Jason. Dad and Pete could often be found sharing a few Bundy rums together, usually resulting in Dad getting Pete into trouble with Barb later for the rum-induced snoring. In July 2005, Dad walked Jill down the aisle when she married her husband, Stuart. Again, he was beaming with pride. In the ensuing years, Dad enjoyed several holidays visiting Grant and I in Australia. He loved the warm weather, an afternoon drink on the deck, and a swim in the pool, and decided to retire at 64 to spend a year with us. He quickly established a happy life here, naturally making friends wherever he went. Always fastidiously clean and tidy, he would vacuum and mop my floors every day, and I would return home from work to a glass of wine and a spotless house. He also enjoyed pottering around the pool, taking great satisfaction in keeping it immaculate. I would often find him skimming the pool in his budgie smugglers, not quite the pool boy I had in mind, and we quickly had to establish a boardies-only rule at our house. After his 12 months, Dad decided he'd like to stay in Australia and applied for a permanent visa. He rented a lovely apartment on the river in Tweed, started learning the ukulele, and volunteered his time with the Meals on Wheels service at Tweed Hospital. He was delighted to become a grandfather to our son Flynn in January 2014, and it was possibly the proudest I have ever seen him. Dad adored Flynn. As Flynn grew older, he loved to wrestle with him, wind him up, and then happily hand him back to me. Always laughing and joking with him, Flynn equally adored his granda. More recently, Dad particularly enjoyed hearing about Flynn's rugby union and often watched him play on Friday nights. So much of Dad lives on in Flynn, who has inherited his sense of fun, his cheeky nature, and a smirk that is the spitting image of his grandfather. Dad was very fortunate to find love again when he met Kerry in 2014, and we have been truly blessed to have her as part of our family. They shared a love of live music, dancing, travelling, and of course their beautiful Scotty dog, Maggie. Dad enjoyed spending time with Kerry's daughter Melissa and her husband Dan, as well as her son Kyle and his wife Kyra. He very much loved their children, Mia, Harry, Mally, Kayla, and Knox. He also enjoyed the company of Kerry's brother Ewen and his wife Jenny, and I think it's fair to say that Dad and Ewen also partook in the occasional whiskey together. Around 2017, Dad joined Marine Rescue and immediately loved it. He was always talking about the boat, his mates there, and his experiences out on the water. Seeing the beauty of whales and dolphins never ceased to amaze him. We are all so proud of the commitment he gave to Marine Rescue and the sense of purpose and community it brought to his life. Grant, Flynn and I were incredibly lucky to spend a month travelling around Tasmania with Dad and Kerry in our caravans over December and January. We made so many wonderful memories together. memories that now mean even more to us than we could ever have known at the time. Dad loved people, and he had a way of connecting with everyone he met. Most of you here today will know firsthand that English was his second language. A proud Scotsman, the Doric dialect never left him. People may not have always understood him, but they were drawn by his warmth, his cheeky smile, and that twinkle in his eye. He was generous with his time, always willing and keen to help others in any way he could. He loved a social gathering, a dram of whiskey or rum if Pete was involved, and his family. Forever I will be proud of Dad, not only for the bravery he displayed on the night of the 4th of May, but for the man he was and the way he lived his life. Despite the hardship and tragedy he experienced, Dad believed life was meant to be lived to the fullest. He believed in finding joy, in helping others, and never passing up an opportunity for fun. And that's exactly how he lived. My heart is broken, but it is also full. For how lucky was I to have had a father like Dad? A man who guided me, supported me, made me laugh, and loved me unconditionally. Rest in peace, Dad. I will always be your queen.
Thanks so much, Angie. I'm sure he would have been really proud of you today. I'd like to invite Kerry to come. Yep. And I think this is Mel. Mel's going to help her as well.
Oh dear. Bill had been living in a unit overlooking the water when I met him in 2014 in Tweed Heads. He'd come over from Scotland to be closer to his daughter Angie, and we hit it off, and Bill spent many a time travelling from Tweed to Suffolk Park, where I lived in a townhouse, eventually moving to Suffolk to be together full time. 2 years later, in 2016, we decided to move to Ballina and purchased our home on the water, the lake, the canal, where Bill spent a lot of his time relaxing, watching the water and keeping a close eye out for speeding boats travelling up the canal. He also became a member of the Marine Rescue around this time. We decided to tie the knot, got married in 2018 and spent a lot of happy times holidaying in our caravan, which he purchased the previous year and was very proud of. We explored the top end of Australia, travelled across to Perth and recently to Tassie over a month with Angie and her family, taking our time returning home through Western Australia, Western New South Wales, spending time at Narrandera with friends and making happy memories. However, our favourite destination was Yamba, where Bill made close friends with the staff there, especially Peter, who was continually distracted from his work by Bill chatting and giving him cheek. We also enjoyed cruising and made wonderful memories together, which I'll always treasure. The staff enjoyed Bill's presence at the bar, and he loved the attention he always managed to achieve, especially with the waiters and waitresses. We travelled to Scotland in 2023, and Bill showed me his homeland, and I was honoured to meet a lot of his friends and have a lot of wonderful memories to keep. The bowling club at Cherry Street is our favourite haunt. And Bill and I.
And I have made lifelong friends there, rarely missing a Saturday night dance opportunity with the group at Cherry Street. The occasional barbecue at our home was an extension of the bolo. Bill was in his element. Even though he didn't cook the barbie, Gary was always given the job of cook, whilst Bill held up his bar with a scotch or rum in hand. Not to be outdone by a couple of friends at the bolo, Bill decided at the grand age of 76 that he needed to keep up looks and have his ear pierced, much to his daughter's dismay. We increased our household by purchasing a cockatiel, Pippi, 7 years ago, and increased it again with the addition of Maggie, our little Scottish terrier, the following year. Both of which travelled with us on holidays in the van. Bill loved Maggie, and she loved spending time with him by the water, up on a chair, observing the lake. Bill was a people person, a larrikin, and enjoyed a good chat with the neighbours or anyone he came across. Enjoying coffees at the Green Coast Cafe on our walks with Maggie, people watching while sitting in the sun. He enjoyed his scotch, rum and coffee martinis at the club on a Saturday night, having a dance or two and enjoying the company of his mates. But more importantly, Bill enjoyed the ocean, the water and marine rescue. Not a day passed when he didn't mention his mates and the boat. We will miss Bill. Right? He is the love of my life, and I'll miss him terribly. Bill is gone way too soon. So many more memories were to be made. But he left doing what he loved. No suffering, no pain.
Rest in peace, my special love. I miss you.
Thanks so much, Kerry. How tough was that, eh? I'd like to invite the Unit Commander of Marine Rescue Ballina, Peter Hill, now, just to say a few words. Thank you.
Bill joined Marine Rescue in February 2017. He achieved crew rating just 11 months later, and he received the New South Wales Premier's Flood Emergency Citation and Medal in March this year. I checked the activity report for the boats for the last 3.5 years, and Bill's name appeared in the crew list over 90 times over that period. He loved his boats. Kerry showed us the wall of the garage full of his certificates and newspaper articles about special rescue missions that he'd been on. He was justifiably proud of all the certificates and articles that he'd been into and the contribution to marine rescue. Now, I've asked his marine rescue mates here today for a few words about Bill, and there are a couple of themes you might pick up. Here they are. We in the tower knew instantly when it was Bill on the radio. Bill was popular with all his fellow crew members. He was always the first one to put his hand up if there was a job to be done, no matter how hard the task was. We would be out on a rescue. If Bill was on the radio, the skipper would give him another job to do. Bill will be sadly missed by his fellow members. Had a lengthy conversation with Bill, didn't understand a word. Bill was dedicated to marine rescue, a fun-loving gentleman with a mad Scottish accent. He was also very appreciative of the assistance I gave him with an insurance claim. He bought me flowers. I enjoyed Bill's company. He always put a smile on my face, and I wish him the best. Rest in peace. Bill was a welcoming, kind and fun-loving member who was passionate about marine rescue. He will be sadly missed by all his marine rescue friends.
Thanks so much, Peter. And over the last few weeks, those sentiments have been echoed to me many, many, many times. So thanks to Angie, Kerry and Peter for giving us just a brief insight into Bill. And thanks all you for being here too, because you're all very much part of his life story. The family have put together a collection of some photos that they have of their life with Bill, and they'd like to share some of these photos with you now.
My desire is always to be here, oh Mar of Kintyre. Far have I travelled, and much have I seen, dark distant mountains with valleys of green, past painted deserts, the sun sets on fire as he carries me home to the Mar of Kintyre. Mar of Kintyre, oh mist rolling in from the sea, my desire is always to be here, oh Mar of Kintyre. Sweep through the heather till like deer in the land, carry me back to the days I knew then. Nights when we sang like a heavenly choir of the life and the times of the Mar of Kintyre. Mar of Kintyre, oh mist rolling in from the sea, my desire is always to be here, oh Mar of Smiles in the sunshine and tears in the rain still take me back where my memories remain. Flickering embers grow higher and higher as they carry me back to the Mar of Kintyre. Mar of Kintyre. in the morning sun. I'll be sitting as the evening comes, watching the ships roll in. Then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I had nothing to live for. It looked like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. Listen, 2,000 miles I roam just to make this dock my home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
Well, thanks to the family for sharing those beautiful memories with us. I'm sure there'll be many more memories that will be shared later today, in the weeks to come, in the years to come down the track. Just on behalf of Kerry, Angie, Jill and the whole family, just thank you all for your presence here today, especially all those who've made an effort and travel to be here to support the family, and also those who have joined us via the live streaming service. But as we heard through the eulogies, not just for today, for your friendship over many years, and of course the love and support you've shown over the last few weeks. Kerry has been overwhelmed by the outpouring of grief from the community. There are so many phone calls, flowers, cards, gift vouchers, food, and many other acts and offers of kindness. The family are just amazed at the impact that this tragedy has had on the community, so their heartfelt thanks to everybody who's reached out to them. Thanks also to all service people who came to Bill's aid on May the 4th. The police, the ambulance, SES, fire and rescue, civilians, and of course the Marine Rescue family who did all they could. Ballina is blessed to have such skilled, caring and generous people in our community to help us all stay safe. And thanks also to Scott from Parkview Funerals and Claire from the staff here at Ballina RSL. This couldn't have happened without either of you too, so thank you for everything that you've done. To allow you all time to gather and reflect on Bill's life, refreshments will be available at the Cherry Street Sports Club, which is their favourite watering hole, a little later after the service, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. So I just call upon everybody now to think about Bill in the silence of your heart. Those of you who have a belief may just care to take the time to offer a silent prayer. And those of you who don't have a belief may just wish to take the time to reflect on the meaning that Bill's life had for you and the ones that you love and the community that he served. It's at times like this that we remember all loved ones who have gone before us, and today We remember his first wife, Doreen, his sister, Margaret, and all deceased relatives and friends. But to his immediate family, to Kerry, to Angie and Grant, to Jill and Stuart, Mel and Dan, Kyle and Kyra, his grandchildren Flynn, Harry, Marley, Mia, Kayla, Knox, and the whole extended family. We also remember his fellow crew member, Frank, and his family. Today we extend our warmest love and deepest sympathy to all of you, and we stand with you today as mourners to share your grief. Today we cannot think of Bill's death without resolving to live a fuller, more meaningful life of our own. Because we loved him, because we are here, and because we are watching, even now he exerts his influence on us by bringing us together just one more time. His life really mattered, and his death now causes us all to get our own values into perspective. So whilst we all sincerely grieve today because we are parting with someone we have known and loved, we are faced with the fact that we do not mourn alone. Many others, everyone here and many other absent family and friends also share our pain. Friends, Bill is now safe. He's already through life's barrier and free to begin another reality, to experience whatever joy awaits him there. But for us, it's important that we have this time to say this farewell to his body and his spirit as we commit his earthly remains to nature's keeping. So, Bill, we wish you well. We thank you for being part of our life. We honour your life on earth, and we thank you for your exceptional service to our community. We pray for your peace ever after. We will never forget you. Journey well, our friends. The family have just chosen the following words, which are very close to them, and they think a lovely way to reflect on Bill's life. A life well lived is a precious gift of hope and strength and grace for someone who has made our world a brighter, better place. It's filled with moments, sweet and sad, with smiles and sometimes tears, with friendships formed and good times shared, and laughter through the years. A life well lived is a legacy of joy, of pride and pleasure, a lasting, loving memory our hearts will always treasure. Pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Next item, I'd like to ask Unit Commander Peter Hill to come forward and to present the family with the Marine Rescue flag. Thanks, ladies. You probably couldn't see it, but there's a bit of a discussion about who was going to have it. You can fight over it later. I don't know if anybody's noticed too that there's a blue ribbon. It's just on the side of the coffin there. That blue ribbon is attached to a letter from his grandson, which is in Grandar's hand. So that ribbon represents the link that he had with family, the close tie that he had. So friends, that completes our service here today. So thanks to one and all for your attendance and thoughts and your prayers. Thanks to those who have joined us via live streaming. I'm sure Bill would be a little bit chuffed just to see that he had such a farewell. I mentioned earlier that there will be some refreshments at the Cherry Street Sports Club for family and close friends after the service here is finished. So Kerry and Bill were regulars there every Saturday night and other times as well, I'm sure. Because of the number of people expected, if you wish to attend the Cherry Street Sports Club, Please make sure that you take one of these green armbands from the attendants at the door on the way out, and that'll ensure that you all get into the club pretty easily. So in a few moments I'm going to ask friends and mourners to leave the auditorium and to proceed outside for the Guard of Honour. Please use the stairs, which is right at the end of the building, or the escalators, or the members' lift, which is just outside here. The funeral procession will meet you again at the front door of the club. It's just the workings of getting everybody out and outside for the thing. So because of the number of people, there will be some volunteers out in the car park to assist with crowd control. I'm just going to finish now with a special farewell to sailors and seafarers. We wrote your name in the sky, but the wind blew it away. We wrote your name in the sand, but the waves washed it away. We wrote your name in our hearts, and forever it will stay. We honour a life that was lived to the full. We honour a spirit now free. You will be remembered whenever we say, fair winds and a following sea. You can please, people please move out. Except family.
Oh,